Hello. My name is Quatechia and you are watching Quatechia Creates. So today we are getting started with this 20-ounce skinny tumbler. I have base painted using universal white, and I've also glittered it using glitter glue and diamonds from Glitter Heart Co. I've already used about 6 coats of Grand Finale, and I have just completed my first sanding. Okay, so now we are going to come in with a couple more layers of the Grand Finale applied at least 2 hours apart, and we're just preparing our surface for our decal. I have had the most success by applying my decals on top of a glossy finish or a smooth finish versus a newly sanded surface, if that makes sense. Okay, so now we're going to come over and hop into Cricut Design Space. We're going to click this upload over here, and we are going to bring in our image and add it to our canvas. Okay, now the first thing you want to do with this image, if you'll notice, it is not locked. So we want to lock our proportions so that our design will stay the way that the maker intended for it to, or the designer intended for it to be. Okay, and I'm going to resize mine to about 6.5 inches. So now we are going to create some registration marks. Is that what it's called? I think. I am going to come over here, select the shape, and I'm going to go with the diamond because, you know, I'm an April baby. Diamond is my birthstone. And we're just going to make our diamond a little small, and then we're going to bring it over here. And we want to make sure that it is going to fit within like all of the colors, because we're going to make it print or cut with the red. We're going to make it cut with the white. We're going to make it cut with the black. Now, some people like to put their registration marks at the bottom of the image, and you can very well do that. However, I'm trying to use as little vinyl as I need to use as far as like waste vinyl, you know, because if we put it down here, then our black is going to have to extend down there, our white would have to extend down there, and also our red. So I'm going to put it over here so that this is already an open space that we were already going to be wasting with vinyl anyway. So now that we have gotten our little shape, we are going to select the entire image and we are going to group it all together. Now you're going to duplicate your image. We need a total of 3, so you can select it and hit the duplicate over there at the top right corner, or you can just select the image, and I'm using a Mac, so I hit Command and D on my keyboard. Okay, so now we have our 3 images, and just to make things like easier for me, I'm going to now hide 2 of them. So we're going to come over to the right side of our screen. We're going to select the group. There's a little eye image. We're going to click on that and it's going to hide the image. And then there was one. Now that we have one image, we are going to come over here and we are going to hide 2 of the colors. So the decal is 3 colors, so we are going to make this our black section. And in doing so, we are going to hide our red and we are going to hide our white. Then we're going to come and select the entire thing and hit attach. That changes it all to one color. Now that we're done with our black, we are going to do the same thing for our red and our white. So after we bring the image back by unhiding it, we are then going to hide 2 of the other colors. So in our white section, we are going to hide our red and our black. And in our red section, we are going to hide our white and our black. And then we will attach them again. Once you've completed all 3 colors, this is what it looks like. And if you'll notice, when you just focus on aligning the diamonds, it'll all line up so perfectly. And once you're done, you can come over and click make it, and then you will see your design is set to be cut on 3 different mats. So you have your red, your black, and your white. And next you're just going to place your vinyl onto your mat. I am going to put both the black and the white on this mat, and then I'll put the red on a mat after this is done. But once your vinyl is loaded to your mat, you're going to go ahead and cut it on your Cricut. I'm using Cricut Maker, the original one, and yeah, you just follow directions. If you don't know how to do this, just follow the directions on your computer screen or your whatever you're using, and it'll tell you or guide you on how to actually use the cutting machine. Now, once you've cut your vinyl with your cutting machine, you're ready to weed all of your vinyl. If you're having any difficulty weeding your vinyl, it's likely that you need to replace your blades. And I will leave a link down in the description box for some cheap blades that I bought off of Amazon. I got like 40 blades and they're just awesome. And once you have finished weeding your vinyl, you're simply going to line up these two diamonds together and it's just going to be perfect. And then you're going to smooth it on with smooth your transfer tape down onto your vinyl design, and it will basically lift off the entire thing. Now what I'm going to do is use this hinge method. I'm going to cut off a piece of the backing on my vinyl decal, and then I'm going to lay down this small portion of my decal very gently. Just laying it down carefully, trying to avoid air bubbles. Then I'm going to use my scraper tool and I'm going to smooth it on very slowly, very gently. This is like 20 times speed, so I'm doing this very slowly, and I'm just going to do it a little at a time. And the backing on the adhesive vinyl is just slowly, like, you know, coming off on its own. I'm not peeling it, I'm just simply smoothing down the vinyl decal, and you'll do this until you have the entire thing down. So once we have our decal down, we are going to pull off our transfer tape very gently. I do like to use my craft knife or my picker tool, and then I'll pop some of the bigger bubbles that won't smooth out, and then I'll take my scraper tool and then I will squeeze the air out of those bubbles, if that makes sense. So once we're somewhat content with what our vinyl looks like, we're going to go in with this third layer of vinyl, and I'm going to break this one up because I don't want this huge sheet of transfer tape over my vinyl decal, because I don't want to, you know, mess it up. So we're going to take this and we're going to line up our diamonds, because, you know, those are our registration marks that we created. We're going to line it up and we're going to smooth on the remaining part of this adhesive decal. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut around it, because like I said, I don't want this huge portion of transfer tape over my design if I don't have to do this. This part doesn't matter so much as far as like where it perfectly lays, so that's why I was okay with, you know, breaking up the design. So when you're working with such like when you're working with a bigger portion of vinyl, I would suggest that you let the vinyl rest once you get it on the tumbler for at least an hour, because sometimes bubbles will like just pop up out of nowhere. So just let it rest for a little bit and then come in and then, you know, do your little poparoo. I'm using my craft knife and my scraper tool to scrape out these bubbles. If you ask me, this was the most tedious part of this tutorial, and if I had to do it all over again, I would just create a water slide. So here we are after 3 coats of Grand Finale. I have sanded the tumbler also, that's why it's looking a little dull. And now we're going to go in with our drip. To create this, we're going to be using some cornstarch. I put some in this little container right here because I didn't want to keep, you know, dipping into the actual box, and plus, you know, I pulled that out of my kitchen. Anywho, so I'm also going to be using Mod Podge and some acrylic paint. I'll leave a link down to these Ariza paints in my description box, as well as a Mod Podge if you choose to get it from Amazon. And that's basically all you'll need to create this epoxy free drip. So we're just gonna mix in some acrylic paint into our Mod Podge to get the color that we want. I'm using a combination of crimson red and scarlet red, both from the Ariza brand, and I'm just squeezing in a little bit at a time to get that desired color. And then once we get it to the color that we want, then we'll go in and start adding our cornstarch. And you're going to add as much cornstarch as you need, using small amounts at a time to achieve the thickness that you're going for. Now, I do want to give props to Courtney from Courtney's Customs. She was the first person that I saw create a epoxy free drip using Mod Podge, and I think she used paint. I'm not sure. It was like a year ago. But anywho, once your drip or your Mod Podge gets nice and thick like me, you can go ahead and start applying it to your tumbler. So I'm going to use the same popsicle stick that I used to mix everything, and I am going to take my mixture and apply it all along the top rim of my tumbler. So then I'm going to go and I'm going to be more strategic on where I want my drips to come down. So I'm going to scoop a little bit more of the mixture on those areas that I want to flow down. Now, because I did mix the mixture so thick, it didn't move very much. So this is how I went and made sure that, you know, like I kind of manually put like where I wanted my drips. I would just take my popsicle stick and scoop it, like scrape it along the edge to create that drip, and it did flow down some. Now, where it did not flow down as much as I wanted to, I manually took my stick and I brought down that drip to however I wanted it. So just play with your drip and do, you know, whatever you want. I mean, make it how you want. I mean, there is no exact science to this. Once you are done, like, you know, playing with your drip, you do want to stay like close by and make sure that it's not dripping too much. If it does start to move too much, you want to invert your tumbler, so turn it upside down to kind of stop it from doing that drip. I didn't have that issue because I made it so thick because it was late at night and I wanted to go to bed. I didn't want to babysit no tumbler all night, you know what I'm saying? Once you're happy with your drip, we are going to let it sit and dry for days and days, however many days it takes for it to dry, because you want this to be completely dry before you actually seal it in. This is a clip from 3 days after I had created the drip, and what I'm doing is I'm tapping on it and I'm also pressing into it, making sure that my Mod Podge is completely firm before I go in and start applying my final layers of Grand Finale. So here is what our tumbler looks like after 3 coats of Grand Finale. It's got a beautiful shine. The vinyl is all sealed in. However, I am feeling like I feel like it may be like some dust particles or something, possibly even from me sanding a tumbler in the room because it was too cold to go outside. But I think that has affected this tumbler. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do another light sand before I go in with some more coats of Grand Finale. Before doing that, I am gonna take it as an opportunity to clean the rim of my tumbler using the X-Acto knife. And then I'm going to go in with a piece of magic eraser and some lemon essential oils and clean out the inside of the tumbler. So based on the inside of this tumbler, it looks like this may be it's definitely a tumbler that has been stripped because it's got some of that residue on the inside. So the lemon essential oils and the magic eraser is perfect to clean that out. And what I do is I saturate the inside with the magic eraser, and then I'll go in with either a paper towel or a coffee filter and clean all of the oil out of it. And I will repeat the process as often as I need to. I don't suggest that you wait to the final, I don't suggest that you wait until you're completely done with your tumbler, because sometimes the lemon essential oils will eat away at the coating on your tumbler. So do this when you are not quite finished your tumbler, and you can do it at the very beginning or whatever, but yeah, I'm doing it now. Also, if your nails are done, you want to make sure that you're wearing gloves when you're dealing with this lemon essential oil situation. Acetone too, but make sure you got some gloves. After that, make sure you clean your tumbler very, very well. I use Dawn dish soap and my hands, really, and then I dry it down inside and out. Before I go in with my final layers of Grand Finale, I am going to sand my tumbler with the 60 grit sanding block very lightly, and I'm going to sand all over the tumbler. So I'm even going to sand over the drip. I'm going to clean it, and then I'm going to go in with those final coats of Grand Finale. And after she was done, this is what she looks like. It only took 3 additional coats of the Grand Finale applied 2 hours apart. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment down below. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel so you can be notified every time I post a new video. Until next time, bye-bye.